Well, something else that's coming up, Dave, is you and I are going on the Do Me podcast.
Oh, yes, the Do Me Life podcast.
I Do Me No Space Life podcast because they don't believe in space.
Right. We're doing that tomorrow. Let's come up with now, and the host of the Do Me podcast is
Paul on the plane.
no, the co-host. Sorry,
Oh, Mitchell from Australia.
Mitchell, who is Creepy Mitchell from our show, who left us
Right.
all his voicemails.
That's right, Creepy Mitchell.
Creepy Mitchell. I'm gonna put his voicemails in the upcoming break.
Great, and just put his cell phone number too.
I will.
Nice.
So I was figuring we could play a game without telling them, where we can just bust their stones. We'll come up with some stuff.
Yeah, I think it's great. So, first of all, their podcast is Dome Life, right? But we call it Do Me Life.
Yeah, it's Dome Life without the space.
Right. Do Me No Space.
Do me no space.
Right.
So one, only refer to it as the Do Me podcast. Okay.
Okay.
Anyway, you get 1 point for any time that you bring up his logo looking like the word poop instead of Paul or plane.
Okay.
Right? Because it does. At first glance, it looks like poop. It's shaped like poop. It looks like a flying poop, if you ask me.
Okay. Okay. Got it.
Mitchell, it really looks like Michelle, doesn't it?
It's pretty close to Michelle.
All right. So whenever I send him a message or write his name, I always put one L. And it drives him absolutely insane. So that's hard to do on an audio podcast. But whenever you address him, you have to say Michelle.
Yeah, Michelle.
Then when he says, "Why are you if he brings it up, just say it's me. I'm calling you by your name.
If he brings it up,
Yeah.
He brings it up to say what?
Yeah, what?
What?
Okay, all right, that's good. You get a point for every time you say Michelle.
Point for Michelle, point for Do Me, point for poop on the plane logo.
Okay. I got another one. How about anytime either one of us praises Mark Sargeant overly praises Mark Sargeant for anything, that's 5 points. Okay.
Okay. I love it. How about anytime we say the Flat Earth podcast?
That's a point for either one of us. But anytime I say Woke Town, I get a point. Anytime you mention the Flat Earth sun and moon clock, you get a point.
Okay.
All right.
Great. All right.
Anything else?
I think we should try to get like 500 points or something. I think we should wait to release this.
Oh no! This is coming out after his. After
Okay.
his is recorded, this will come out.
Okay, great.
Okay,
that's awesome. Trying to think what else. I think those are some good. I'm gonna have to study those so I'm ready, and I'll have my tally sheet.
all right, maybe we come up with a couple other items before then.
I just think anytime we mention the Flat Earth podcast being the award-winning, the best podcast out there, while we're on someone else's podcast, I think can only be a good thing.
Absolutely. Okay, that's a good one. Yes, love that. All right, let's take a quick break.
Dome Life, where the sum total of our entire existence occurs within an enclosed system we call Earth. Despite the fact there are people who are working for some very dark forces who have managed to program the masses into thinking we are living on a spinning ball flying through the vacuum of space. A ridiculous thought, we know. So welcome to the #1 weekly Flat Earth podcast on the plane. That's right, it's Dome Life with Paul and Mitch. This is episode number 31. The title of this week's show is simply The Flat Earth Podcast, and you'll find out why here momentarily. Whether you're listening to the show on our website, domelifepodcast.com, or one of the major podcast platforms, we're glad you are here, and we hope you enjoy this week's installment. This is Paul on the plane, and I'm joined by my fearless co-host from the land over yonder, Mitchell from Australia. Mitchell, how have you been, and how's the tribe?
Hey, Paul. Thanks for the great intro. Yeah, everyone's great, mate. How's your tribe?
We are coming out of a little bit of a weekend with some colds and sniffles and coughs, but we have emerged victorious. Once again, we're doing good. So thanks for that. So let's jump right in here. We've got a awesome show planned. Let me say real quickly, though, each week here on Dome Life with Paul and Mitch, we discuss the latest topics and happenings in the ever-expanding, ever-growing Flat Earth community. As citizens of plain Earth awaken to the globe deception, discover the growing body of empirical evidence that logically and reasonably points us to a conclusion that God's creation, our home, our realm, is flat and motionless. So, in this episode, Mitchell and I welcome David Weiss and Matt Long from the Flat Earth Podcast, who some would argue is currently the number one Flat Earth podcast. And admittedly, there may be some evidence for that.
The award-winning Flat Earth Podcast.
As we often say, in the truth-seeking community, please do your own research. David,
I have a question. You don't believe in space, right?
No, sir, I don't. I believe that.
No, of course.
Space. Well, you've removed the space between the Do Me podcast and you've changed it to Dome now. Is that the story?
No, it's the Do Me No Space podcast.
Do Me No Space. That's right.
There you go.
I think we're going to have to change the name. So, Dave, as you guys can hear, David and Matt are on the line with us. We have limited recording time, though. So, as you can imagine, coordinating these guys' schedules. We got 4 busy flat earthers who have a lot going on at all times. So, we're going to jump right into the conversation, maximize our time together. Mitch, we'll have to save our announcements and other items till the end of the show. So, it's a real treat to have you guys on, David and Matt. Thanks for taking the time to be here, and welcome to the Do Me No Life. Excuse me, No Space.
I love it.
Do Me No Space, No Life podcast.
I would say it is an honor being invited on the second best podcast, non-award winning, still with with Michelle, our stalker.
Yeah, well, so one thing, I'm going to introduce my co-host, David Weiss, DITRH, right? Co-host of not just a Flat Earth podcast, but the Flat Earth podcast, if I may.
Nice, thank you.
You man.
And my co-host over here from his channel. The heck's the name of your channel, Matt?
Oh, it's Woketown.
Woketown, damn it.
That's the King to Ka right there.
That's the King to Ka, making me forget my words. All right. That's all out of the way. Hello.
That's all out of the way. Thanks, guys, for being here. We sincerely appreciate it. Yes, you guys have definitely set the bar for Flat Earth podcasts. Inspiration for this podcast definitely came from hearing you guys. Sometimes had to wait a month or two in between, but, hey, we know things are busy, and getting to hear a lot from Mitchell, which was great, because the longer you guys would wait to record, the more frustrated Mitchell would get, it appears, and getting to hear a lot more from him. So I don't know, Mitchell, if you have any remarks in that on that vein.
I'm just so excited. You could understand how excited I am that Dave agreed to come on to Do Me. No, I totally screwed that up.
That was a great effort there. Our newest episode is coming out today at some point, and Mitch, you have a competitor singing to me.
That is true.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Yeah, you'll have to listen in. We did cut him off early, though.
Got a little.
Was he from Australia? Was he from the land out over?
No, he wasn't.
He wasn't you, so no, he was not from Australia.
Mitchell was performing the role of everybody in Australia.
Michelle is the only person in Australia.
For the record, it is 2 L's, so it looks like Mitchell, not Michelle.
Oh, I thought it was Michelle. It's not Michelle?
No, between me and Dave, it's Michelle. But between me and Dave, it's Michelle. That's
okay. I thought it was Michelle. I was mistaken. It's not Michelle.
Whoa.
Got it. So did you hear that, Dave? It's not Michelle?
That's just pet names.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Not
affectionately known as. Well, good. This is great. Glad we're getting all this out of the way so we can eventually maybe get serious. But if you can't take this completely seriously at all times. So anyway, I wanted to really, I don't know, Mitchell, what you kind of had planned, but, get these guys on the line. I always kind of like to kind of level set and just kind of get their perspective. They both are heavily involved in the flat Earth community at various levels, got a lot going on personally and, and all the stuff that's fills up our days and weeks and months. But David, Matt, where are we at as a community? Let's just dive deep right in. How are we doing with waking up the world?
Why don't you go ahead?
Yeah.
Sure. Why don't you go ahead, Dave? DITRH.
I think that when people say the flat Earth movement, I don't think it's I don't like calling it a movement. It's just people waking up to the flat Earth, and everybody that is waking up to flat Earth has something in common. So there is that community. There's so many people that say, the flat Earth is dying. Nonsense. It is growing exponentially. People are learning. We're learning more and more every day. I now everywhere I go, things happen. You mentioned flat Earth and people are on it, or people are mentioning flat Earth to me now. It's just, I think it's really hitting the tipping point very, very soon if it hasn't really hit it already. It's flat Earth is everywhere, and there's no stopping it at this point. That's my opinion.
Matt, you want to chime in?
Yeah. Sure. Yeah, I would totally agree with Dave. When you go, it used to be when you talk about flat Earth, people are like, what? That's even a thing? Now, at least people know that it's at least stupid, right? That's the first thing you got to find out is there's this stupid flat Earth thing. People are at least there. And then there's so many more people coming out, people with big followings. I mean, people that didn't start as flat Earth channels, and that's a really great sign to me. And like Dave said, it's a community. And once you're in, man, it's the greatest people on the plane.
We've got, just starting Owen Benjamin, who has a pretty big following. He knows the Earth is flat. He's been talking about it somewhat. I was on that show. I was on with Sean from the SGT report, almost 750,000 non-flat Earthers. He's a flat Earther now. Mel Fabregas.
Christopher Green, AMTV.
Christopher Green, for sure. Mel Fabregas from Veritas Radio. Every single show now, he makes a flat Earth reference. It's coming out every show. There's a flat Earth reference. So before he was just taking it slowly. It is, flat Earth is everywhere. That's the thing. We just did our show and we had a lot of speak pipes. And every time I get a call from an adult woman from somewhere in the world, an intelligent, we get them from England or where did I don't even remember.
Norway.
Norway, yeah. But you hear these intelligent women, and you can tell that it has affected their life. It is become a prime feeling, a prime motivation in their life to help expose this thing. And that's how I feel. And I just see that, this is something. I've been into different things my entire life, and they come and go. Flat Earth will not leave. Once you see it, it affects you every single day, all day.
That's right.
Yeah, just the other day you were out at a festival and someone thought you were Mark Sargeant, right? Who has the best baby soft skin in the industry, right?
Oh, you love Mark Sargeant, don't you?
I do. I think he's a great guy. I get along with Mark well. I could say a lot of nice things about Mark.
All right.
That's awesome. Well, what do you guys, for anybody, what do you think has been the biggest driver for creating so much awareness around this subject? Or is it just a combination of things? Is there one thing that you guys think, in looking back, that really has either kickstarted this thing or has really driven it, deep into, the consciousness of the world?
Matt, you go first. I have some thoughts.
Sure. Okay, well, I think we live in kind of a niche world where you've got this internet land where no matter what you're into, you can find at least one or two other people in the world that are into that. And that's why I think this version or this episode of the Flat Earth movement, which has never really stopped, there's been flat earthers all the way through history.
That's
but
right.
The reason this one has really exploded is just because the access. Everybody has access to YouTube or social media of some kind. And it's even gotten so bad that they are trying to filter out flat Earth searches and push up what they deem as authoritative content, which means non-flat Earth content. And I totally think this wave on the internet combined with a lot of people like Dave, DITRH, Mark Sargeant, you guys that have really decided, hey, you know what, this is important enough for me to stand up and talk about it. And so we've had a number of people stand up and be willing to help the movement publicly. And I think that's just been, a lot of people are scared, but we're kind of standing up, being people's shield, letting people take shots at us, just so the few people that don't think it's dumb can kind of come into realization of it. Dave.
Yes. Well
Good
done
stuff,
there.
Matt.
Well done, Matt.
Well said. I agree 100%.
Some people will say that, there's people that are for certain things and against other things. There's people that say activism is the only way to go. Other people, like myself, think that these conferences are serving a big purpose. And then there's people that make videos like Jaron, long videos. And then there's Globebusters, which is a live 3-hour, 4-hour show every week. Then there's my videos, which I try to keep under 5 minutes. Matt does short ones on his show also, on Woketown. All of these things together are waking up people, and all I say is for people, do whatever you feel comfortable doing. If it's going around talking to people one-on-one, then do that. If it's making a video, if it's having the second best podcast, Flat Earth podcast, you do
like
that.
You guys do.
As opposed to the award-winning Flat Earth podcast. And just all of these things together, I always say it's like a soup. You have to have some carrots and some celery and the broth. And, sometimes you got to throw a meatball in there.
Yeah, right on. I don't know, Mitchell, I'm curious. I mean, you are a little bit further away from all of us, and we have been lucky enough to kind of get together a few times, at conferences and a few times this year. What do you do to stay connected, Mitchell, besides speak pipes? The Flat Earth podcast.
Well, it's not necessary when they have so many episodes come out like weekly, like we do. That's why, our show's the best. But
the number one weekly podcast. That's right.
But yeah, for me, I do a lot of driving, so I see all these big channels getting not infiltrated, but like getting into the conversation, like Dave has been doing, like in Veritas. Like I've been listening to Veritas since pretty much it came out with Mel Fabregas. Like he's a massive influence on my kind of conspiracy life and that sort of thing. And I'd have to congratulate Dave for the Benjamin stream, because that was what, like 9,000 live viewers, Dave.
Yeah, it was up there. It was his highest live viewing ever, and
that's absolutely like fantastic. Doesn't matter if you're a flat earther or a globe earther, like so many people heard that, and all these subs, and it's just these big YouTube channels that are just getting into the conversation. That's what I've seen is getting the biggest impact and just getting a new audience, because that's what it's all about. We don't want to kind of create the same echo chamber where the same people are listening every week. It's expanding. It's getting more people in the conversation, whether or not they like it. It forces them to research it. And I'm pretty proud of you too, Dave, because me being a stalker myself, I can appreciate you getting onto Owen's stream, because you worked on him for so long, and I have to feel partially responsible because I was kind of coaching you through it.
Michelle, you did help me out with my stalking abilities, so thank you so much, Michelle.
DITRH bear.
Like I only got a podcast out of my stalking, but you got 9,000 live viewers. That takes the cake. Like I thought I was good at stalking him.
I'll take that as a win. Thank you.
That's a massive win. So it's just another great stalking, creepy story for all those creepers out there. Do not give up on your heroes. Like make sure you're heard and you get your points across, and you'll get on something like me and Dave have.
There you go.
Pretty soon you'll be.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, pretty soon you'll be able to do me no space.
There you go.
I think any stalking scenario that doesn't end in murder is a successful one.
That definitely is something to look back on fondly. It went well. It went a lot better than it could have been.
I will have to say, we recorded the podcast late last night, Matt and I, and then I was listening to Mark Sargeant with his amazing show, 200th episode, and I mentioned that there was a new episode coming out, and in the chat, and Paul says, "Oh, you recorded it, but when's it coming out? Next month?" Which spurred me on.
It's the 29th of
May. To finish it, so I didn't sleep last night. And
there's only like 2 days left in the month. It wasn't that big of a dig.
Yeah, it was a big dig.
Was that Paul? Was that Paul that said that? Because I saw the logo, but it didn't look like a plane logo. It looked like something else.
Anyway, moving on. Let's talk about. Let's shift gears a little bit. I appreciate you guys all chiming in, and Matt, I appreciate the reference there. But let me just cut you off before we go there. But I do appreciate it. Really what I wanted to do to switch gears a little bit is, I know we kind of talked a little bit about where, maybe what we've got to this point, but is there something that we could be doing better? Dave, you talked about all the different areas, making videos, street activism, conferences, opportunities. Just when, a guy came to the door last night that was basically from the local utility company, was talking about, have we ever considered solar panels? So I quickly changed the conversation to, because I was wearing my FE Core t-shirt, and he even asked me about it. He was like, what's that? And so we got to talking and told him about, an independent research group, and we're investigating the shape of the world, all this stuff. And he was just like, what are you talking about? I mean, every opportunity you can to speak about this, is that what we should be doing, in your guys' opinion, is to kind of advance this thing and keep it going?
Every little thing helps. Whenever I send a package out, I'll put some stickers on it. Whenever I'm talking to customer service, I'll throw a little something in there. When you're having a conversation at a bar, if you can work it into the conversation, it's best when somebody else brings it up, because then they're truly interested. So you have to just be creative on how to bring it up. But all of these things matter. All of them matter. The conferences there's not many non-flat earthers that go to the conference, but we do get a lot of media out of it. And the people that go there make relationships with other flat earthers, end up collaborating. Like, that's how I met Matt. We were hanging out in the bar. I saw this guy lonely all by himself, nobody to talk to. And I was like, I feel really bad for this guy. I stopped over and started talking to him. And he told me his name was Thew. And I'm like, that's why no one's talking to you. And because Matthew, he calls himself Thew. And we ended up talking. And then the whole thing came together. And here we are with the #1 award-winning podcast, the Flat Earth Podcast.
Nice. Well, yeah, the thing, sorry, go ahead, Paul.
No, I was just going to remark, whenever Dave kind of throws that out there, I want to just remind him that there's also a #1 weekly podcast, Flat Earth Podcast, as well, that needs to be maybe part of the conversation. But please go ahead, Matt.
We're on it, actually, right now.
Fair. That's nice. That's fair. So I would second what Dave said. Probably the thing that gets me the most, that I think we could get away from, is all of the, and not that anybody on this channel does it, but calling everyone government shills and things like that. Like, if you actually come to these conferences and meet guys like Mark Sargeant, who's just a super nice guy who would never, is just not the type that would be a government shill or controlled CIA. If you come to these things and you meet these people, like, you're going to find out that you start relationships with these folks at a different level than you would someone you just meet on the street. And, Dave and I obviously became fast friends, and, it is a reoccurring theme that the people that are calling people shills and Illuminati and things like that, and calling people up for accidental hand signals, are also the people that don't go to the conferences and meet everybody.
Well, yes, I completely agree with that, and it's disheartening to see it, and I just try and stay away from it as much as I can. But airing all that stuff out, it's just ridiculous, and it doesn't do anything. I think if you truly care about the truth and are interested in advancing that, whatever part you feel you have, whatever you're comfortable doing, if you're spending your time trying to weed out, like you have a responsibility to weed out the community, then you're wasting your time. That's not going to do anything to help things grow. It's really just it's just ridiculous in my mind, because I don't relate to that at all. So that's probably why I don't understand it.
Yeah, I think guys like you and me and Dave, I mean, we're more I guess, kind of like positively thinking, optimistic type guys. And we've been at all these deals, and we think it's worth investing our own money into, one, spreading truth, but also getting to these places to get to know these folks. Like when I first started, I didn't know anybody, but I was putting a lot of credence into what the things that some of these guys were saying on YouTube. So I was like, well, I got to meet some of these people to make sure. And I think a lot more people could do that. They could make it more of a priority and spend more time with people than typing away on a keyboard, on the internet.
Yeah, right on. Mitchell, you have a very large measure of faith. It looks like, because unfortunately, I haven't had a chance to meet face to face. But or I don't know if you've met David or Matt. I assume you haven't face to face. You're really hedging your bets here, aren't you?
No, well, I see that people calling people shills is just the paranoia seeping in. I don't see anyone that mentions flat Earth is just furthering the cause. There's no bad publicity for flat Earth. So anyone who mentions flat Earth, it's only doing us a favor. It doesn't matter if you're trying to disprove it or prove it. It's only furthering the conversation, getting more people involved, and yeah, that's where I say it. So
Mark Sargeant always says that. He's the one that coined that phrase. There's no publicity in flat Earth that's bad publicity.
Exactly, and that's from where I am. I haven't actually met another flat earther, but they're damn good shills if they are shills, because they're doing such a good job for the community.
Michelle, have you ever joined the Flat Earth Friend Finder yet?
I have, and I noticed you tried to add me as a friend, but I wouldn't have a clue how to use it. But I would encourage everyone to get onto it. Is that like a Flat Earth Tinder? Is that what you were talking about?
It's like no, for you it's more like a Flat Earth. What's the I don't know the name of the app. What's the app that the guys use?
Tinder.
No, is it Tinder? No, that's the app that guys and girls use. There's another one that just guys use. All right, joke blown. Grindr. There you go. Of course you know. But I just want to announce as the airing of this, William, who's done, I believe, your site, Paul, my site, Marty Leeds, a whole bunch of Flat Earthers sites, is redoing the Flat Earth Friend Finder, where it's going to have so much content on it. You're going to be able to find people wherever you are. You could have it show your location in real time. So let's say I'm in New York City and I want to do some activism. I could email everybody within 5 miles of me, hey, I'm going to be over on this street or in this park. Come on down. If you want to do a meetup, bam, hey, there's 100 Flat Earthers within 50 miles. You can email, you can message all of them. We're having a meetup. It's going to be the biggest application in Flat Earth that's really going to bring people together. I look at it like how the elite use synergistic toxicity on us, where they give us a little mercury here and a little aluminum over here, but that mercury by itself isn't so bad. That aluminum by itself isn't so bad, but you put them together and it's 1,000 times worse. Well, you have a single Flat Earther doing what he can do. He can only do so much, but you put 2 Flat Earthers together, or 5 or 10, it becomes so much more powerful. People become more bold. People can put ideas together and resources together and do so much more. So getting together with local Flat Earthers is a top priority.
That's great. That kind of really, that's where I was going. What could we be doing better? What should we be doing? And I didn't know if it was kind of public knowledge yet or not. But this website that William is putting together looks to be amazing. It may be the best Flat Earth tool since the Sun and Moon and Zodiac clock app.
The Flat Earth, Sun, Moon, and Zodiac clock app. Thank you very much.
I thought we need to get that in there. But yes, this looks to be really, really cool. And I do a lot of traveling, both for personal and business, and it's not unusual. You guys probably just saw this when I was over in Ireland. I love to, when I'm going somewhere, is try to contact some people there and say, hey, I'm going to be there. Let's do a meetup, even if it's 4 or 5 people meeting at a pub in Galway, Ireland, like I did. Meeting new people, making new contacts it's so powerful. And you said it best for sure, that getting together and that synergy that's created really builds the community. And I think it it can be lonely. Let's say that. I think we've all been there. When you're first getting into this, and family and friends, and how they're going to take this, and you can feel a little isolated. But there is a huge community of people that are waiting with welcome arms, because they're where you're at. They see this. They've kind of awakened, and they're out there. You just got to reach out and say hello.
So you're a flat earther, and you go to the company water cooler where everyone's hanging out, or lunchroom, and you're the only flat earther there, or a bar, and the subject comes up. You're there by yourself defending it. Well, imagine going to one of those locations and there's 5 or 10 flat earthers all supporting each other, and you're a glober just because out of ignorance, you've never looked into it. You're going to listen more, you're going to be convinced a lot easier, and you're going to have a lot better information thrown at you by them grouping their knowledge together. So I see huge things for Flat Earth and this People Finder.
Yeah, I think if the Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app is Bitcoin, then this People Finder is the blockchain. And I think people need to be they need to have both right now.
Great analogy. Yes.
Thank you.
For sure.
And I'd like to point out that this is coming from a guy, William. Like he, before kind of I met you guys, like I kind of met William, and no one's really heard of William, but he has a massive impact on this community as a whole. He maintains so many websites. He makes sure all the content's getting out there. And
yeah, good point.
For people out there that aren't kind of have a big personality or don't want to get the spotlight, if you've got talent in other areas like technology, get out there and help people. Just put your services out there, because it does make a massive impact.
Yeah, well said. And big shout out to William. And I've told him this too. He's almost like the backbone, or at least a vertebra in the backbone of this community, because he's not out there every day on the streets, at Speaker's Corner, or doing a podcast, or what have you. But he is day in and day out, probably way more than 40 hours a week, probably 60 to 80 hours a week, supporting so many people, and being that behind the scenes guy. So big shout out to William, and we appreciate everything that you've done for so many of us and for the community. All right, guys, we've been going for almost 30 minutes, so let's take a short break. We'll hear from the highly valued partners of the #1 weekly Flat Earth podcast, Dome Life, with Paul and Mitch. We've also got the Flat Earth Music Television Hot Track of the Week, and then we'll come back and finish up our conversation with Dave and Matt. So stick around. Much more with the guys from the Flat Earth podcast coming up on the other side of the break.
So guys, if you can't afford a ticket. My fellow citizens, I got some great news. Not fake news. This is great news. It gives me great pleasure to introduce and endorse from the Flat Earth podcast. I love these guys. A breakthrough for the geocentric world. I want everybody to have this. It's the new Flat Earth Sun and Moon Clock. Right on your phone. That's where it goes. It's beautiful. I got it. Melania loves it. Ivanka, too, are crazy about it. All that money was spent on NASA, and they couldn't come up with this. It shows me right where I am. I know where the moon is. The season's got everything. It's got the wall. Not that wall. The ice wall. You gotta get this. The Flat Earth Sun and Moon Clock. I'm Donald Trump, and I approve of this app. Tremendous technology. So simple. Barron, make it work for me, will you? This kid's so clever. Kids are clever. But CNN's so stupid.
Okay, welcome back to the podcast. Just a friendly reminder to listen to past episodes of Dome Life with Paul and Mitch. You can find them on our website, domelifepodcast.com. It will take you right to all of the past episodes on the website. And don't forget, Dome Life with Paul and Mitch is also available on SoundCloud, iTunes, Spotify, and Stitcher. Episode 31 continues here. Mitchell and I have been chatting with the incomparable duo who run the Flat Earth podcast, David Weiss and Matt Long. And before the break, we were chatting about kind of how we got here as a community, if you want to call it that. I prefer that word over the word movement, the Flat Earth community, because that's what it is. It's an ever-growing, ever-expanding community of people that are waking up to this. We talked a little bit about what potentially got us here and some of the things that we could be doing, and an exciting new tool. We kind of ended the break or the first segment on this Flat Earth People Finder, and a lot more to come on that here soon. So, guys, I'll open up the floor again. We kind of talked about this tool, but I ask you to kind of get your crystal balls out, if you will. What do you think the remainder? We've got a lot of conferences coming up. Obviously, here in 2019, many of you are going to be speaking at them. I'll be attending as many of them as I can get to. What's next for this flat Earth community? What do you guys think is going to be happening next? Is there anything that you'd like to throw out there as a prediction?
I'll let DITRH go first.
Yeah. As far as a prediction, I just think that bigger and bigger radio shows, hopefully some television shows, will start reporting on it. And maybe, even if it's a mainstream one that's trying to control what's being said, I don't think you really can control the truth. The truth wants to get out. It's the light. You can't stop it. So getting out, my goal is to get myself or anybody that can speak onto a show that doesn't have a flat Earth audience. It just has regular people that have no idea that the flat Earth is even a thing. Reaching these masses is going to make the difference. And there's so many people doing it in so many different ways. There's reaching different groups of people. Matt, does his style of stuff with Woketown, his channel, short videos from his biblical point of view, which will help people cross that bridge. I do my short videos, which, basically I look at it as you can't get a Glober to watch a 2-hour flat Earth video if they're not interested. You have to get them interested with little bites. So everybody keep doing what they're doing. More podcasts, more street activism, more conferences, more videos, more chat groups, more of everything, especially more Mark Sargeant. I'd like 10 more Mark Sargents.
That's right. That's what we need. It's good to have a Mark Sargeant on your team. I think Dave's right. I like what he does on DITRH with his short stuff. That's probably why I do a lot of the stuff on mine, because I was kind of following Dave for a while. I was listening to Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole, the podcast, way back in the day, which I think he and I both recommend. I know he and I both recommend you don't do that. So, excuse me. But I think another thing that we probably need to figure out is how to direct people to what we deem as authoritative content. Because if someone just goes out and YouTube's Flat Earth, we know what they're going to find. The first 10, 12, 14 videos on the page are going to be debunking Flat Earth or supposed debunking Flat Earth videos. And so I think to come up with, maybe we point them to the Flat Earth podcast or DITRH, Paul on the Plane, there's got to be something there that we figure out, research Flat Earth, kind of that slogan probably needs to go away. I don't know if you guys have any thoughts on that.
Agreed. Have you guys heard what I'm doing now when I recommend a video?
Have not.
Paul?
I don't think so.
So, Michelle, when you guys watch a video, when a good Flat Earth video, the next one that YouTube recommends is a debunking Flat Earth video. Is that happening all the time to you guys also?
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I see every autoplay. Yeah.
So they've really fine-tuned their algorithms. I wasn't sure if those algorithms made it to Australia yet, but what you can do is you create a playlist. I have lots of playlists on my channel. Jaron has playlists on his channel. Everybody has playlists. Find playlists for specific things, or even just your 10 best Flat Earth videos. And then anytime that you have a video, if somebody asks you a question, they're like, how does sunsets work? Or, how does this work? You can put that video on the top of the playlist, go into the playlist, click that video, and then take the URL from the top of the screen, not the share URL, and post that. So the person, it'll look like a regular link. The video will come up. They'll click it, and then YouTube will autoplay everything else in that list.
Good idea. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And it totally gets rid of their suggested video of nonsense. So you do that, and that's what I'm doing on the app now, on the daily video. It's from a playlist. So if the person is watching it and then doesn't stop it, it'll play another good Flat Earth video for them.
Right on. Yeah, great idea. I didn't even think about that because that's what it's designed to do. You could essentially could send the playlist to them, and yeah, if you start at the beginning, I don't know what happens if you start in a playlist in the middle. Does it cycle back and hit the other ones? I don't even know how it
Well,
even works.
if you have the playlist set to repeat, yes, it will. But don't just send them the URL of the playlist, because then it'll pull up a whole list of videos, and now they have to make another choice. You want to send them the specific video that you think is going to help them the most, whatever their question was. And if that's wherever that is in the playlist, the video after it will play next. And if the video's set to loop, it'll go back to the beginning at the end.
Excellent idea. So that's something that anybody could do, because whether you're just somebody that goes on YouTube and maybe watches shows and comments on videos and supports flat Earth content creators on YouTube or podcasts and that sort of thing, you definitely are coming across people that with a dissenting opinion about the shape of the world. So when those questions come up, that's something that anybody could do. You can make a playlist of videos on your channel of other people's content. You can create your own playlist. You don't have to create these yourself. So anybody could do that, and then or find a playlist on, like you said, on Dave's channel, on Jaren's channel, on my channel, whatever, and you can do that. It doesn't have to be your own content.
You can copy that channel. You can go to the playlist and just click the three little dots on the right and say add to playlist, create a new playlist, and then just click the other ones, add to playlist, bam, bam, bam. You can make a 20 list playlist in seconds. It's so simple to do. And then share those lists with other flat earthers. Say, hey, I've got all these playlists on sunsets, on tides, on eclipses, whatever you want to do them on, however broad you want to make them. Then share them. Let other people know that you have them in case they haven't put them together themselves.
Excellent.
Well, and that's what I like about DITRH and the FlatEarthPodcast.com is it's got them all sorted by those deals. Dave's got lots of playlists. And another thing came to my mind is, if you're not someone that makes videos, something really easy to do is just leave positive comments on videos or thumbs up. Like, that's something super easy for people to do.
Yep, right on. Getting in there and the comment section of videos can get pretty crazy, and the more positive comments in there or agreeing or what have you definitely helps. Because
I've had so many people.
Reasons.
I've had so many people reach out, especially since the Owen Benjamin interview, saying, I used to troll flat earthers, but then I heard what you said to Owen, and now I'm looking into it. And he goes, now I can't stop. We all have the same story. We all hated it, just for different amounts of time. And there's so many people now that are coming around there. Everybody's heard of flat earth. It's been desensitized. It's no longer moron, idiot, all those words are no longer associated with it. They're getting pushed away. It's like advertising. You got to see the ad 10 times before you react. Well, everyone has seen flat earth 8 or 9 times.
That's right. I challenge you to go out on the street and find somebody that has never heard that it's a thing right now. I think it's been covered by so many large channels, and obviously, you see it on the news and what have you. When the president speaks about it or what have you, there's just so much going on where it's mentioned at some level. Now, they obviously don't necessarily agree with it or whatever, but they've heard of it. It's not something that really blindsides them totally anymore.
Flat Earth is rising up to, towards number one in consciousness, in things to think about. Like if you went to a Flat Earth gathering or where there's just a bunch of Flat Earthers, a conference, a meetup, and you said, hey, can you name a Flat Earth podcast? They're all going to say the Flat Earth Podcast because it's at the top of their minds. Then they might know Paul on the Plane.
There's evidence.
Podcast.
That's a strong argument. There's evidence for that.
Okay.
No, great stuff. And I agree 100%. And as more, news organizations, channels, publications cover it, even if it's not necessarily in a good light, it just creates awareness. And so, like you said, the repetition and this is how I equate it, because I've had people I've talked to that said, yeah, I saw, I saw a billboard, I saw a video, and then a buddy down at work was mentioning it. It was like their third or fourth time that they hear those two words together, flat Earth, and you're naturally, I think your human instinct is that fear of missing out. Like, what the heck is going on here? I need to look into this. Why is this a thing right now? So repetition is definitely key. And I know you guys, everybody on the show here, especially Mitchell, who's got I don't know if I can leak this a little bit, Mitchell, you've got a really cool video that you're working on right now, which I can't wait to see. But I think this would be one where you could. I had a caller last night on my show, Paul on the Plane Live on TFR, and it was saying that this was the number one proof that we live on a globe. And Mitchell just happens to be doing a modeling, a demonstration of this, that it works completely on a flat plane. I don't know, Mitchell, do you want to tease it a little bit, maybe?
Yeah, when will that be out, Michelle?
Nah, I don't want to touch that at the moment. It's pretty hard to put a time on it at the moment, because just kind of things in my life aren't letting me do that, what I want to do at the moment. But thanks for pumping it up, Paul. I appreciate that.
Well, everybody needs to go over to YouTube and go to Mitchell from Australia's YouTube channel, which will be in the show notes here, and subscribe.
MITCHEL from Australia. Mitchell.
You won't find it. You have to put 2 L's.
Isn't 2 L's Michelle, though? Isn't 2 L's Michelle?
Michelle's got an E at the end.
E at the end. That's right.
Okay.
You're just muddy in the water. What I wanted to say before is, the seeds have already been planted. I think, everyone's already heard of flat Earth. I think it's time for now nurturing those seeds and growing them, get good content out there. Like, I think it's responsibility of the bigger channels now to get onto other bigger channels and to get the best content and to get the good points across, because I think, everyone has heard of flat Earth, but whether or not they will look into it is up to the content that they hear. If they hear good points and they go, wow, I want to actually look into that, that sparks a lot of people kind of going that direction.
Yeah. Anyone that's hearing this podcast and has a show, all of us are available to come on your show and answer your toughest flat Earth questions. That's what we all like to do. I assume that's the same for both of you guys, correct?
Absolutely. We would love to hear I think this is kind of a theme that I'm kind of working on, that's maybe going to be kind of how the show on TFR goes, is really just opening the phone lines up, which they always are, but just saying, hey, come at me with your number one proof that we live on a ball flying through space. What's number one? It's got to be something that cannot work on a flat Earth. Bring it and see what you got.
Has anyone ever brought anything?
Well, they bring, like Matt so eloquently describes, things that they could correlate, perhaps, to living on a ball. But I used the bucket analogy that I stole from you, Dave, and that is, but it works on a ball Earth and a flat Earth. We're looking for something that only works on a ball Earth, and that's where we're drilling down, trying to find that thing.
The problem is the proof for the ball is just below 8 miles. Anybody?
So we're stuck.
Anybody? That's the deepest hole reference. It's just short of 8 miles. No.
There it is.
That's the deepest rabbit hole.
Yeah, the deepest hole ever dug. It's just short of 8 miles, and the proof of the ball is just below that.
That's right. So we have to, point taken, we have to admit that there are some things that perhaps we might not ever be able to completely uncover and deconstruct and figure out how it works. There might be some things like that, and that's okay. I think that has a big impact on the psyche of the world, because we're used to being told that everything is figured out, or that somebody has figured it out, or scientists are going to figure that out for us. And it might be a little bit daunting that there could be some things that may remain mysterious to us, at least for a very, very long time.
Yeah, there's just so many things that, we have to honestly say we don't know. Things about the sun, things about whatever's, when we look up, we can't actually get there, and we have to be comfortable with not knowing, because that's where we get ourselves into trouble, and that's how we've got ourselves here, because people with authority have said that this is how things happen, and we've trusted them for so long, but now we're tearing their theories apart. And it's like you talk about the psyche of people. It's just a new way of thinking. That's everything I put out, is just trying to get people to think about everyday things in a new way. You can't keep applying globe logic to a flat earth around you, because it's just not working. And that's where this is all, like, you're tearing at the seams, and everyone is just tearing this thing apart.
Right on. I second that. Well, good stuff, guys. We've really only got we got probably a little bit more than 10 minutes or so, and Matt's going to have to jump off a little early. So I wanted to give you guys a chance just to kind of maybe highlight some stuff that you're working on, what's coming up, later this year. I know you guys have some speaking engagements. Let us know the best way to, I guess, Matt, you've got Take on the World coming up. Is that correct?
I don't. I'm not going to Take on the World. So somebody's got Take on the World coming up. I guess the next thing I've got going is, I just got done with Truth Quest Calgary up in Alberta, which was awesome. And that's another example of someone, we had someone from Calgary over to our house up in Grand Prairie, and we said, hey, you need to go to Question Everything in California. She decided to go. When she went there, she was so inspired, she decided to have her own conference in Calgary, and so ended up being a great conference. Mark Sargeant was there. He did a great job. Jared Cressman, Nathan Reynolds, Emily Pittsford, Robbie Davidson was there. It was a good group, and yeah, it was great. And I guess my next speaking engagement will be Skyfall in October in Alabama. And then I'll be speaking with DITRH and the Flat Earth Podcast at Flat Earth International Conference in Dallas. I think I'm also going to be doing a speech on my own, but just getting all that figured out. And then, so that's what I got the rest of the year.
And anything with Woketown?
So Woketown Jess is feeling a little bit sick lately because she's pregnant, and she's just kind of coming out of that stage. So we'll probably be getting some podcasts out here soon with that, as well as some more awesome short videos, and also working on what I think is a pretty good proof of the shape of the Earth. So just like Mitchell, I'm not gonna reveal anything yet because I'm still kind of working through the details, but I'm pretty excited about it. So
cool. We'll give our best to Jessica, and I heard that she's been having a rough go of it, but sounds like things are on the upswing.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I definitely will. And then obviously summer, No Lies, Dome Skies will be putting out probably some fun stuff here as the summer heats up, and I'm always excited to be part of those.
Now that you guys can go outside, that's great.
Yeah, right. Now that we can go outside without getting frostbite or the snot in our nose freezing.
Exactly. Good stuff. All right. Well, we'll look forward to that. David, what about you?
My only speaking engagement is at the conference with Matt, and we're gonna try to do some full audience participation demonstrations, and one of them is gonna involve, I think, several thousand helium balloons. So looking for volunteers to tie off helium balloons at the conference.
That sounds like a great opportunity to also record some audio for the podcast with all that helium in the room.
For sure. I got to make sure we get some of NASA's allocation, though. There's a helium shortage, and NASA is buying up all the helium in the world.
I saw that. In fact, my wife came back from the party store, and she was talking about the expense that she had for some balloons that she had purchased, because the clerk said that there was a shortage of helium, and the demand has gone up and the price has gone up. So NASA is affecting the economy when it comes to helium.
Yeah. The other thing is I'm really working on this endless project, the Flat Earth, Sun, Moon, and Zodiac clock. New update just came out today. I've included a shop link in the settings. I've cleaned up the settings a little bit, took the Fahrenheit Celsius off the front, put that in the settings as a switch. We've adjusted the video window size. We're still working on the Galaxy S9 thumbnail issue. I think that update's going out tomorrow. Hopefully that problem is fixed. And my heart is into this app because I've seen the aha moment look on so many people's face when you're talking flat Earth, and then you break it out. If they ask, how does seasons work? How does day and night work?
Exactly.
How any of that, you break it out, and then you put it into the hourly time lapse, and you just watch their eyes get big, and they're like, oh, that's how it works. And I actually have to do a test, but I think that so far, no human being that has ever glanced at the app for more than 3 seconds is still a ball earther.
That would be an interesting study for sure. Yeah, I have to agree. If there's anybody here listening that does not have that on their mobile device ready to use, you're really missing out. It is absolutely a fantastic tool. I can't count on two hands probably anymore how many times I've had it and talked through it or shown it to family, friends, what have you, because you could just see the light bulb go on, because you can't really describe it just with words, the model and how it works. So being able to say, hey, look at this, it's remarkable.
The reaction people get, they'll say, well, what's the name of that app? I want to get it, which is great. Then you assure them, say, hey, get the app. Every day there's a new video during the week, short videos, mostly, usually 5 minutes or less. Today was a 15-minute one. And then longer ones on the weekend, just so people have the time to watch them. And to say, if you watch the video each week, every day for 2 weeks, there's no turning back. And I believe that's a fact. Because I really am careful at the videos that I put up there. I try to, see what the big question of the time is out there are just really good videos.
You should offer a money back guarantee on the app. You say you watch, you buy the app, you watch for 2 weeks every day, and if at the end of the 2 weeks you don't at least question what you've been taught about our world, then I'll give you your money back.
I would offer to do that. I just don't have the mechanism. I don't have the ability to. Yes, Michelle.
The Jew and Dave will just not let him do that.
I knew that was coming.
Shots fired. Shots fired.
That was Owen Benjamin. We give Owen Benjamin the credit there for bringing, your app and the fact, your heritage, whatever, into the conversation.
The other thing is the first thing I do in the morning.
Couldn't help himself.
The first thing I do in the morning when I'm getting ready is I need to see what the weather's going to be for the day to see, what weight of clothing I'm going to be wearing. And my Weather Channel app takes like 5 seconds to load, to upload and load. If you hit the Flat Earth Sun and Moon clock, bam, it's right there. You tap on the weather now. It brings you to the Dark Sky website for your location. It's got to be the best weather website. It's got a radar map. It's got everything you need.
Right.
So
if you guys don't have the app, you need to get it.
Yeah.
Flat Earth, Sun and Moon. Is it Sun, Moon, and Zodiac clock?
Yeah. If you just type into Google Play or the Apple App Store, Flat Earth Sun, it's right there at the top. I think they have the number one hit is something completely unrelated, but it's right there. It's the one that costs $2.99.
There you have it. In the US. Well, cool. All right. Well, let's start wrapping up here, guys. Really appreciate, obviously, the time you've taken to be on the number one weekly Flat Earth podcast on the plane here. And I was going to say, do me no space, because I'm afraid I'm going to say, do me no life, because that's now stuck in my head. But thanks again for taking some time out and being with us. If you guys that are listening have not, and I'd be surprised if you haven't, but if for some reason you are not checking out the Flat Earth podcast with Dave and Matt, and sometimes Curious Jay, we've got a shout out to Curious Jay there, founding member of the podcast as well, then you're definitely missing out. And it sounds like a new episode is probably already out. If you're listening to this. So please go check that out. You guys are at theflatearthpodcast.com and obviously all major podcast platforms as well, right?
Right. And check out our Facebook page, the Flat Earth Podcast. Lots of great videos there. If you like perusing on Facebook, it's a good place.
Right on. Okay, well, let's go ahead and wrap up then. Matt, appreciate your time. I know you got to jump first, but thank you again very much. All the best to you and your family, and hopefully we'll be talking again soon.
Right, and everybody check out Woketown. Great on Instagram, on Facebook, on YouTube. Woketown is one of my favorite short video channels for this topic.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Dave. And you can always check out Dave at DITRH, Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole. Paul, you're one of my favorite guys in Flat Earth. Really appreciate what you do. Mitchell, I'm going to keep reminding Dave that it's not Michelle, it's Mitchell. It's not Michelle, it's Mitchell. I don't know why Dave keeps saying Michelle, but it's Mitchell. So
thank you so much, Matt.
Yeah, no problem. Really appreciate you guys, and thanks for having us on.
Yeah, thanks a lot for coming on. Congratulations to you and Jessica, Matt.
Thanks. Thank you.
It's kind of an issue it's close to my heart at the moment. We got a newborn, and I understand that you guys are kind of heading down the same path that we did.
Oh yeah.
With alternate thinking, like the home birth is that what I understand?
Yep. You got it.
That's awesome. So yeah, it's just like little things like that just makes a difference to people's lives when you start going down these rabbit holes and new ways of thinking, new ways of doing things. And congratulations to you guys. All the best.
Awesome.
I'm sure it's going to go so well.
Michelle, I was very impressed with your whole birthing story, and I love the whole idea of it just from the economics.
Yeah, not involving the insurance company.
Yeah,
not involving anyone. Like your body's a natural thing and a natural process, and check out our latest podcast before this one if you want to hear that. But I'm sure we're going to hear a lot more from Matt and Jessica.
Yeah, you guys are courageous, brave warriors, for sure, both you guys. So we appreciate you.
Like Dave said, you can either flat smack people or you can just make new flat earthers.
That's right. Either way, you're growing the community. So we appreciate you guys breeding more flat earthers into the gene pool for sure. Dave, thanks again to you as well. Keep up the great work. Always fun to hear what you got going on and seeing how you impact the community. So always a pleasure, sir.
Excellent. Thanks so much for having us, and all hail Mark Sargeant.
That's right. Congratulations to Mark Sargeant, who just last night had his 200th episode on TFR. I called him the Iron Man of Flat Earth, at least with that show. And I heard that Patricia, speaking of his counterpart over there that do the secret show, she's got her. I think he said almost her 300th show coming up. So let's not forget her.
Wow.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Thanks, guys.
All right. Talk soon, everybody. Take care. Thanks again.
See you, Paul.
Thank you so much, guys. See you, Dave. See you, Matt. Thank you so much. Hey, it's Mitchell from Australia. Where are you? It's been over a month. I haven't heard from you. I check your podcast page every day. There's just nothing. It's like you've just left. You don't call? You don't write? You're just getting your answering machine again. Is it me? God, it must be me. I'm sorry, I always do this. I come on too strong. I try to be overly nice. I'm a nice guy. Just give me another chance. Pick up the phone. I know you're there. I know you're there. Don't hide from me. Pick up the phone. I love you. Bye. Hey, it's me again. Still haven't heard from you. I just can't get you out of my head. You drive me crazy. It's all I think about is just you. Dave, is it the transgender thing? Because I don't care, man. If you got an innie or an outie, I still love you the same. I just need to hear that voice. Please come back to me. I saw your mum at the shops the other day. I just didn't know what to say. Just give me an answer. Do you love me or not? Bye. Pick up the phone! You are so beautiful to me. Can't you see, Davy? Where the hell are you? I swear to God, if I come around your place and Jay's car's there, oh, help me God. What does Jay have that I don't have, huh? You know what, screw this, screw your games. I'm going to call Jaren and he's going to give me flat earth. Yeah, how do you like that, huh? Yeah, you forgot I got those photos of you too, don't you? Yeah, oh, you want to play games? You pick up this phone. I know you're listening. You're nothing, you hear me? Never been anything. Before we even met, I picked you up, put you on the flat earth pedestal, and now what do you repay me with, huh? Silence, nothing. I'm sorry, baby. I didn't mean it. Nobody does flat earth like you. Jaren, he doesn't mean anything. I mean, I like his videos, but that's it. That's as far as it goes. He could stick a whole box of tissues up his nose and he still wouldn't have a beautiful nasally voice like you do. I just need you. Come back to me. I love you. Bye. Davey, do you love me? Are you riding? Say you never ever leave from beside me. Because I want you and I need you. And I'm down for you always, CJ. Do you love me? Are you riding? Say you never ever leave from beside me. Because I want you and I need you. And I'm down for you always. Boys, this is what happens when you don't do a podcast for a month. Don't let it happen again.